Hi, hello, how are you? Welcome to yet another episode of the IHNDY series. My name is Sam Nabule, and I'm passionate about helping young people to grow and develop, actualize their full potential in a way that is fun and relatable. We live in a world where everybody wants to do what they want, and they call that freedom. And so today we are here joined with a very interesting mind to help us debunk that idea of freedom in a way that the freedom that we understand can't be something that is far-fetched but also misunderstood. And so stay to the very end to have a fun, learning, educative experience. Joined with me today here is Mr. Alan, and we're going to debunk this myth of freedom together. Mr. Alan, karibu sana.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it's been the third time you're here on this episode, and I'm super grateful to have you always.
Thank you for having me as well.
For those who don't know you, you mind introducing yourself?
Okay, thank you so much. My name is Alan Kuchwa. For those who don't know me, and I'm a lawyer. Just some guy trying to do life around here. So I'm grateful to be on this show this afternoon.
Now, as a young person you are, I'm sure you've experienced situations whereby young people want to be left to do whatever they want.
Yes.
And they always say, I am free to do whatever I want. But is that always freedom?
That's not always the case. That's not totally freedom in itself.
Then what will freedom be?
Freedom for me is, first of all, a two-sided coin. So it is to be free, but within some norm, which is the domain. So freedom is requires that there are some boundaries. There are some extents you can go, others you cannot go. But the fact that you are now free means that actually you must realize that you can really do as much as you want to do without being afraid of any thresholds. Now there is also the kind of truth in terms of what the boundaries are, but there's also some thresholds which society has set for us that can just limit you. For example, you have heard people say, kwetu watupatangi A in math. You heard about such like things.
Yes.
So you live on such a notion that sisi kwetu we are poor in math, and therefore you don't get to explore what that side of life will look like. So freedom for me is not doing everything that you deem fit to do, but doing things knowing that you can do anything, but knowing that everything has a limitation, and also that there's an order. I think that's what we struggle with a lot. Trusting or believing that there's a certain order that has been there before from the beginning of the world, and we can do nothing about it. So we just need to live within that limit. Yes.
Now, you're introducing something very interesting towards the very end of what you just said, the order that we can do nothing about it.
Yes.
So that brings us to the topic of predestination. That brings us to the topic of surrendering yourself.
Yes.
What Jean-Paul Sartre would call fatalistic resignation. You resign to fate. You say, this is my fate, and however much I do,
Yes.
I have that ceiling
Just much
that I just can't pass. You can just do such much.
Yes.
Now, to reconcile the two, freedom and fate,
Yes.
what will be your understanding of the two?
My understanding of the two, we actually need to bring in something else, something about choice.
Okay.
Choice. Because remember, fate is about choices at the end of the day, because human beings have some free will. So while it is fate, at some point you made a choice to do what you have done, and that now it will only go as far as it can go. So for example, let's say if you choose to do some career, there's just much you can do. You will be promoted to some grade, and that is the end of that grade, so you have to retire and go home, right? So basically, it's also about choices. But the idea of predetermined fate and freedom, now you see, these are two different things, because predetermined fate is more of like some mystery, is more of like some
higher being.
Some higher being. Yes. So you really don't have control over it. And that's why you see people tell you sometimes you can just work so hard, and man, it just doesn't work out. I've heard people saying, "Oh, this guy is lazy." But they say, you know what? They also wake up every day to work hard,
Yes.
but it just doesn't work out for them, you know. So that's the unfortunate part about life at the end of the day. But for me, now the freedom comes in when you really don't sit and say, "I can't do this." You know, when you push yourself and you say, "Actually, I tried, I did my best, and there's just much that I could get in this space." Of course, today in the current generation, there is a bit of a bigger space. You see the online, the digital space, the internet. So you can really try to dare as much as you can do. But at the end of the day, the predetermined fate is really contributed by the choices we made and even the freedom that we have. For example, I'll give you an example in the job space. The guys in this country who apply 50 jobs in a month, 50 jobs in a month. The guys who apply none, and they say, "Hey man, Kenya konanga job." You get, but they don't even make an application for a whole month, even one. So their papers are home seated. You're not saying that is a bad thing, but you see they're making a contribution towards that fate. So someday they'll say, "Hey, my life has ended here," but you see they made some contribution to it, and that's why somebody said, "Choices have consequences." So those are what now become the consequences of those choices, you know. And others now say, "You know what? I'll do 50 applications. Out of them, they get zero interviews. Actually, you get more disappointed because now you're getting rejection emails back to back, 50 of them. Imagine being rejected 50 times. You know?
Yeah, there's a way it messes you.
Yeah, it messes you up to some extent, but knowing that you tried, you know, gives you a bit of you even hit the wall knowing, look, I gave it my best. Look, I can say, look, I gave it my best. So for me, freedom and choice contributes even more to that now the predetermined future or fate, as we may put it.
Now, I like what you're saying because back in the day, I used to be a sportsman. Right now, I'm very unfit.
Actually, I have a photo with you.
Yes.
I'll one day share it when you are in some high places.
Oh my God.
Of course, you are there already.
Yes. So,
Yes.
the number of things I learned in the sport world. One of them was the idea of constantly seeking to rectify something.
Yes.
Now, I won't brag that I was the best in my team.
Yes.
I won't brag that I did really well.
Yes.
But the idea of as every season comes and you're training,
Yes.
you realize that there's something you've been doing wrong all along.
Yes.
All right? And so you keep pushing, And by the time someone is looking at you in the field, saying that, hey, manze Samuel, tunabake vizuri, for you in the back of your mind, you're like, man, there's this one thing that is disturbing me.
Yes.
I'm trying to train and I can't really get it. And I draw a lot of inspiration from LeBron James. I know Linda Mongina will totally disagree with this, but it's okay.
Yes.
LeBron James is arguably the greatest basketball player of all time. Again, I know most of you will disagree with that, but that's just my opinion. And I normally say he's a practical illustration of excellence. Why? Because despite all the accolades, despite all the titles he has had, he's 41 right now, I think he got 42, but he's still playing and he's still dominating the league. But every time the season ends, you'll still find him training. And you're like, man, what are you training for? What are you training for? And what you're saying, ile kujituma, you make 50 applications, you fail, you go back again there. LeBron James has a very interesting philosophy that he got from one of the American presidents called Theodore Roosevelt. It goes like this. I won't say it exactly as it is, but it's something close to this. That at the end of the day, it's not the critic who counts, but it's actually the man in the arena who has been fighting, who is sweating, who has bled, who even if he loses, his space can never be with those cold and timid souls who have not tried. And sometimes, in the process of pushing, you realize that the journey is as important as the destination. Yeah, the failures might come in, but the things you collect along the journey, I think they become more valuable. Now, back to freedom and fate. There's this guy called Jean-Paul Sartre, some French philosopher, very big in existentialism. And so, in the world of existentialism, there are two major kinds. There are the theistic existentialist and the atheistic existentialist. Now, it has nothing to do, in my opinion, I think it doesn't have a lot to do with the radical denial of God per se, but it's just a logical denial, right? I mean, you start out not even willing to deny the existence of God.
Yes.
But every other premise you've made, they point out towards the direction. You get what I say? And practically, this is what Jean Paul says, that every person, when he is born, his existence precedes the essence. Let me run that again. When you're born as a kid, you get to exist first, then determine the kind of person you want to be. But the theistic existentialists, they have a problem with that. Because if you're being born and determining who exactly you are, where is the place of God, who, in the words of Jeremiah, called you before you were born, knew you, and gave you an assignment before you were born? But something interesting about Jean Paul Sartre is the idea that you identifying with a certain essence comes with freedom. It also comes with choice, comes with responsibility. So that if you choose to go through path A and want it to define your essence, then you have to choose that in total freedom, without coercion. And then the responsibility that comes with that choice, you have to put it on your shoulders. I don't think that is something you intend to mean when you talk about freedom and choice.
It's something I actually intend to mean, and I wish to make just some point about Sun Tzu in his book, The Art of War. He says it's not about those who won; it's about those actually who fought well, even they lost. Yes, and a very important aspect, because freedom and choice actually are about the journey and not the destiny or the results. But from what you just brought out, it's really the same philosophy I'm trying to connect to. You see, when you look at the idea of finding essence in the world that we live in today, because there's a whole conversation about the atheists of the world and now the other faction of the world, which really all makes sense at the end of the day. But as you put it, it's just logical. The logic. It's just the logic part of it. And if you look at it, it just draws us the direction. Actually, one time I used to think that you see, belief is something that is ingrained in man. It's like the corporate of God, basically.
And
it is not something you come looking for. It is already new.
It's already new.
Yes. So it is basically that we agitate it differently. And you see some guys want to pick up coffee until they faint, others go into solitude, others now, like those who believe in the logic part of it, I got an M, man. I'm sharp, I'm intelligent, you know. But it just draws you to the belief in some superior being. But now they're saying, no, he's not there, I'm that superior being myself.
But still, at least there is something.
There's something.
St. Anselm would say that by the very fact that you're denying the supremacy of God, you're affirming the supremacy of something else. Now, that's something else, clearly. We're just saying that God is a supreme. God. Exactly.
Thank you. But I wish to make some point here. You see, even now freedom comes in two factions. There is I call it the freedom in the negative and the freedom in the positive.
Okay, school me there.
In our last episode, we addressed something to do with love. And we grapple with love and some things that look like love, desires and all that. Have you seen the guys who tell you life is short? Have you heard them?
Yes, you only live once.
But what is always the context? Because it's a Friday evening and they're going somewhere in a club. That misuse their life. You get? And now they'll bring in the quote, life is too short, you know? So that is what I call freedom in the negative.
All right.
You know? So it's the freedom that draws you towards, like you're consoling, like a consolation to some kind of bad decisions you're making, so that then you can just go out and have a free life. And you see some guys will take some alcohol and just take too much of it. Atapiga hiyo mzinga mzima tu at once, you know. One, it is about kufurahisha mbogi, desires, you know, all that, all those dynamics. Then the freedom in the positive is not what you're talking about, the essence part of life. So you have to make a decision, for example, and say, I'm going to religious life, you know. So it really draws you to taking those vows or whatever they think. I'm not part of this life. If I mess up anything, I hope I'll not be crucified.
No one will crucify you.
Yeah, but basically, if like you're becoming a lawyer or a doctor, you look at the philosophy behind that call. The philosophy, what am I being called to do? And then now you make a choice to go and do it. And that's why you see some guys, I'll give you another example. My examples are always very simple because I'm from the village. You know, when I came to Nairobi, you see that these people who drive big cars, and sometimes you want to be intimidated by them. But have you seen these guys who are walking on the road and they don't care? They don't care that you're driving a big car. Yeah, when you splash your maji, but it just goes, you're going, and let me walk out, I'm walking, you know? Because you make a choice and you realize where I am as a person is where I am now. Of course, I'm moving, but this is what I have today. So it brings us to a point of comparison. You get? So one of the things that actually kill real freedom is comparison. Because then you're comparing with another. So if you're comparing with another, it means you've actually not made a choice. You are still in between. So you have not made a choice to be into something. And that's actually where people lose now freedom. Because freedom means you are into something and you know what it takes, you know the limits to it. And but again, 100%. You say, I'm here. So you're being told, look, you can only move 10 steps. And you're like, yeah, yes, I know that. And that's where I am.
This is what I signed up
for. Yes, this is what I've signed up for. You are told, man, this thing is difficult. You're like, yes, it's difficult, but this is what I've signed up.
I've chosen it and I'm bearing the
burden. So that is now what I call the freedom in the positive. And that is what now requires you to look at, okay, what are the truths in life? What are some orders that life look at? For example, there's a very controversial thing that has been going on about men and women and that whether there's any other kind of gender, you know? So it's a whole idea that invites you to take actually a stand. Not sit on the fence and say, this is what I believe in, this is what I believe to be the true thing. But also at the end of the day, as much as you do that, the world is so dynamic around you. And that's why even in the last episode, you were talking about grace, love. So you'll have to look around and say, hey man, these guys have chosen that life, and I appreciate it. But as for me,
I'm not part of that business.
Yes, I'm out of that business. That's part of freedom. So it's basically living and knowing this is the truth that I hold on to, and that actually the truth that the world holds on to, and this is what I believe in as a person. But I'll not impose it to the rest of the world.
Yes. Now, I think, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think freedom also has a lot to do with understanding the self, understanding who you are. But then you can't understand without knowing. So you begin from know who you are, where you're headed, your strengths, your abilities, your weaknesses, the threats, the opportunities you have, but also understand the environment you're in. And not just physical environment, mental environment, spiritual environment, political environment, financial environment. You need to understand, to know and understand all that. And then once you have some standard, substantial knowledge of who you are and the environment you're in, then you can speak about discipline. All right? I loved it when the world athletics champion Eliud Kipchoge said that only the disciplined ones are free. It's quite a controversial one because you'd see, okay, why am I getting into discipline? Because I want things to get done. You know, there's a saying that says discipline gets things done.
It looks more like a routine part of it's like a strict line.
But you know, for you to develop that discipline of freedom, you need to know a lot about yourself. And you need to know a lot about your environment. Case in point, you can't speak of freedom when you don't know what you want in life. You can't say you're free. No, you're not free. You are under the shackles and chains of your passions. And there's nothing to do with freedom there. You can't say you're free to make a choice to go to this direction when you don't know what is in that direction. You need to understand that environment. And that is why I think false training to become priests, they take about 10 years. Why? For you to understand that environment.
Why you are going to that place.
And for those in religious life, before you get to your final profession, your solemn profession, you need to renew those vows annually so that you're fully aware that where you're getting yourself into. So that when you submit yourself, when you commit yourself now solemnly,
Yes.
then at least you have substantial knowledge of who you are,
Yes.
and you also have substantial knowledge of that environment that you're taking yourself into.
Yes.
So, personally, I believe you can't speak about freedom when there's no knowledge, when there's no discipline, because those two really contribute.
They're very
a lot.
important.
They really
Yes.
contribute a lot.
Even
to
awareness. Awareness, because that's the first thing you spoke about, that you must be really aware of who you are,
Yes.
where you are, and of the people actually around you. Very important. And in my view, that's exactly the point of freedom. To be disciplined enough to ensure that you are staying in a place and you know why you are there in the first place. Actually, the why is important. Like we have had this conversation with you before. Most of our human interactions are very transactional.
Yeah.
Very transactional, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's life.
like you ask, who created this system?
Who designed this system?
Yeah. But at the end of the day, even with all those transactions, you see, when today I'm going to help you, Sam, as a friend, I will not help you because I think it's transactional or because I think you owe me anything at the end of the day. But I'll do it because I'm able to do it. I have the ability to do it, and two, I need to help you as a friend.
Yeah.
And you see, knowing that why really frees your soul. You know, it frees you to do things out of. You see, let me talk about even relationships for a minute, and mostly the romantic relationships. You have seen a very toxic environment online about these issues because somebody believes if you're buying a woman something. And we are not married or something, they're like, this is rubbish, man.
Yeah,
what are you doing? What is
wrong with you?
Yeah, you know? And that creates an environment where people don't know exactly why they're doing something. So you don't do things out of generosity. Actually, it's generosity as a virtue.
But still,
yes.
Let me let it slide.
Okay. Okay. But what I'm trying to say is, you know, if we live life as principle and not as I'll even put it, not as a passing cloud or as passion, as you say, not as passions, but as principle. So your principle is that you're a kind person, you know. So you didn't wake up for somebody in the car so that you be paid about with God. You know, people believe that if I did some kind things today, nothing bad should happen to me. Such that when something bad happens to you, like, man, God, where are you? You know.
You know, we read from James and Psalms that
Yes.
Love covers a multitude of sins. I don't know if that's the context you're talking about. But if you're charitable,
yes,
at least it covers
some things for you, you know. And I think that the why should be really dissociated, and that's why it's called freedom, the free, and that free should be from the mind. Be free from the mind and know that what I'm doing as a principle, as a person. So I am a free soul. That's all. You know, I show up for people. That is all. So that it should not be like I showed up for Sam and he didn't show up for me. You know, you actually lose freedom when you do that at the end of the day because you are tying it to something. It should never be. One day, I was writing. I journal a lot. I was writing, and I remember that some guys got me cross now lines. So when I was writing, I was praying for them. I was praying that, you know what, let them, because the good moments we had with them as friends, and then they showed up and all that. I was saying, you know what, let them be blessed. And I wanted to put the because on the paper. Then it refused, so I had to put some notes. Then again began and said, why should it be because of anything? Just be blessed. Just be blessed, you know? Because there's no caveat to that. You know, if you want to bless without having a caveat to it, then I think that's also part of freedom. It should come from the point of knowing that we're just a man of principle. Also, too, we're also human beings. And as human beings, like now, you talked over John Satter. You see, we are born, some believe we're born, how do we call it? There's this bad term people use in misuse, tabula rasa.
Yes.
Yes. And we're born not knowing, so we learn as we go. So that should also inform us that we don't beat up ourselves so much. Not people believe that they're kind, and when they're not kind for a minute, it disturbs them all their life. Again, that's not freedom. Freedom is knowing that, look, I am just a human person who's trying to do some life around here. So you will fall, you'll wake up, fall, wake up. But the whole idea is, are you in the struggle? You see, there's always that struggle that you are in, and you realize, hey man, actually I'm in the struggle. Like, I think it's Paul who talks about we are called to sainthood or something like that, to holiness, right? So if you're called to holiness, it's actually a struggle. And because it's a struggle, it has ups and downs. The question is, are you in the struggle? Because if you're not in the struggle, then you lose it actually to the negative part of freedom. You remember the negative part of freedom? Now it becomes a consolation. You are now falling into mediocrity, and you're like, man, I think we are made for this mediocrity. The world is made this way. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. As we wind up, finally, let's talk for a minute about political freedom. Talked about freedom having awareness, choice, responsibility, and all that. And recently, we've been having protests, Gen Zs,
Everywhere.
trying to fight for economic freedom. And these things are the finance bill and everything, the abductions, and people are trying to voice out. We've seen a number of activists being arrested, like Boniface Mwangi.
Abductions,
and they're like, I thought we are free to address, to voice out our opinions. What will be your commentary on that?
It's a matter I take a lot of time to comment on, because I think it's philosophy that they say we are political animals, and we are political in nature. Actually, everything is politics in the world. Everything is politics, and the game of politics is a game of getting what you think you deserve as a person, but also as a game of personal interests. You know, we live in this world of communism and the capitalistic world at the end of the day. So my comment on political freedom is that you see, while it might look like people out in the streets fighting for their freedom, there is also the political class that we live in, the political reality that we live in, and that there's manipulation from all over the places. You know, you have seen the government, and you've seen goons walking around with the rungus and all that, and you've heard people saying, oh, there are some mobilizations. Nothing is said as a rumor in politics. When something is rumored, it's actually true. Yes, but my opinion is that actually this is not new. It's been here ever since. It's been here ever since. From even if you look at 1982.
Yeah, the Kamukunji days.
Yes, all that. The University of Nairobi, 1997, and all that. The youth have been always in the streets fighting for their rights. I think today in the world of technology and the digital space, the youth have been more vocalized, and also you see many have been educated now. They're not doing this tokenism politics where you are bought by political party and you go on the streets and you're fighting because this faction. No. It's about what is the right thing. The finance bill is not okay. This is too much tax for us, you know. So I think that for me, I think there's been that element of awareness, and actually we talked about it in the beginning, that you're not fighting for freedom because it is part of some faction of society. No, it's because you're aware as a person that where I am, this thing is going to affect me individually, you know. And for me, I think it's important. It's really important. It's part of freeing yourself. Of course, now when you talk about people saying, I thought we were free, and people are abducting us and we are being silenced, you know, that's the nature of governments. Governments are necessary evils. I mean, governments are necessary evils, but you see when society is made of imperfect human beings at the end of the day, and they're the ones who put people in power. So it's not a perfect society. It's a very imperfect society made of very imperfect people around it, and even governments. So I understand that fight, the push and pull. The only place where we lose it is when I see young people falling for the political tactics that were there many years ago. You see now you are being bought, you are giving up on the struggle. The struggle is very difficult. I think it's what Darwin was talking about, the struggle for the fittest or something like that. So it is something that we have to keep fighting for every day. Some will be abducted, some will be killed, but that is not something that should threaten us to leave the streets or to stop fighting or agitating for our rights. So once the Constitution tells us, look guys, you have the freedom of expression. We will have, in a democracy, we will automatically have two splits. It's like the Moses time. Like every time you hear a statement, Moses strikes the water, and there is already the two divides of the sea. So you'll always find yourself on any of those two, but always ask yourself the question: what is this I'm fighting for as a person? If it is something that creates awareness about you and your environment, and something that creates something positive for the future, you keep fighting for it. And that's why now, as lawyers, also you're always in court each and every day, saying, look, you must defend this right, you must defend this law. There's just much you can do as a person. As a generation, there's just much you can do. But the good thing is that there's something you'll always do. Something little, but there's always a shift as we keep going to the future every day. So that's what I could say about.
Wow,
yeah.
Thank you. That was deep and powerful. Yes. And what I'm taking home is that get your why.
Yes.
Understand your environment.
Yes.
Have an awareness of who you are.
Yes.
Then, as they say, just make sure your feet are stable.
Yes.
Then stand firm.
Also fight for something.
Fight for something. Don't just fight for nothing.
I'm a coward. Some guys are cowards.
Yes.
You are brought into believing that you are less a human person, or that you can just do some. As you said, be free. So being free in the positive means you can fight for something. Yeah, fight for something. The worst can come to the worst. My lecturer used to ask me, now he's my boss, he used to ask me, what is the worst they can do to you? He used to ask us the question every day. You could ask us, what is the worst they can do to you? So fight for something, and the worst they can do to you usually is nothing, because even in death, Christ will come and resurrect us in the end. Yes.
Oh, that was a good one, Alan. Let's stop it from there, and I hope to meet you in the next one.
Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope it has been educative to you. And if you like what you're doing, remember to leave a thumbs up there, subscribe and share this video with your friends so that we can all learn and grow. Until next time, peace.
Thank you.